Where do you see the role of a sales rep going in the future now that AI is upon us?
Yeah.
I'm just fascinated by that question and I'd love to know your thoughts. I'm talking like 10, 15 years in the future, right?
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
think about all these large language models that are out there available, and even, as companies start to adopt AI in either their R&D or just, refining their processes, I think as a salesperson, people that have strong EQ and IQ will always be in position, right? If you're kind of been the salesperson who's made it, but not really at the top of your game, if you're like kind of in that B, C category sales professional, you may find yourself reinventing the wheel with either more of a supportive role as opposed to like more direct customer facing, because customers can be prepared, right? When they come in and have meetings, they can ask you and know information about your top competitors, what's out there in the market, what people are saying. But if you don't understand the science, you don't have a good grasp of people skills and understanding their motivation and what is going to be perceived as a win for them, you may struggle a little bit more. I think the larger companies, they often have strong, significant training programs to invest in their people and as the market changes and adopts. So you remember, Pat, both you and I, when COVID happened, right? It was like an immediate pivot overnight. We went to using Teams and using all these online mediums to have, personal relationships. And it worked. It was successful. Customers adapted. They joined us in this process. So much to the point that when the world opened back up, people were like, oh no, let's just meet online.
I'm good. Yeah. I'm good seeing you on a screen. Yeah, exactly. But you know what? I have a slightly different take on
Okay.
that because I think right now, I think it's reached the peak of human intelligence. And, it's not a far stretch to say that at some point, very soon, it's going to exponentially become even more intelligent than any human ever,
That is
right?
true. That is
And
possible.
so, in terms of 10 years from now, like you're looking at me now, but I can be an AI and I could be trained with all the applications in the world and all the history of how developments came about. And who knows, even EQ, right? Even EQ, you could train an AI to maybe pick up certain, even better than a human, like body language,
Yep.
signals, tone. It's weird now. Like if you knew that I was an AI right now, you'd be weirded out. But 10 years from now, maybe that'd be the total norm. It's like, okay, I'm talking to an AI just to get what I want, and then boom, I'm in and out. Ask my questions, deliver all the right answers. So, what are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
that's so interesting you bring that up. So I was interfacing with ChatGPT the other day and I was doing some investment kind of stuff, with all that's been going on in the market. And so I was just asking for a perspective. And I was just talking to it a little bit like a person. I was like, well, what do you think? You
Yeah.
advise, would you recommend? And giving it context, of course. So maybe 2 years ago, I came across an interesting article on LinkedIn that actually spoke to that very fact that 10, 15 years from now, you might not need salespeople or they'd be greatly reduced. And at first I was like, no. But then I thought, okay, well, I'll be retired, so it won't matter. But I love this profession though, right? So I would hate to see this profession, go away. But one thing we've all experienced, Pat, is that change is inevitable, right? It's a part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for those
Mm-hmm.
people that still desire the human interaction, there will still be a place on both the customer side and the company side. But maybe there will be some processes that get streamlined and dedicated to AI, especially more of those transactional interactions. Customer wants to buy a growth factor, protein, or antibody. You might not need a salesperson for a little $300 order, but somebody who's making $1 million purchase, they're probably still going to want to talk to a person. I mean, the day that you might see those type of interactions relegated to I don't know if that would ever come in like $1 million large big deals, but it's possible, right? It just really depends
Yeah.
on how well overall society embraces it, right? Because getting back to that human nature, right? Because the people that we deal with, our customers, our scientists, they're still people at the end of the day, right? And so depending on how
Absolutely.
much they desire that interaction will dictate, the surgence of AI in the cell space.
Even now, we're getting used to calling a supplier and having AI or the automated robot help us resolve our issues just by dialing a couple of numbers, and then depending on what we dial, then they'll say this and then they'll respond this, ask a couple of questions. So yeah, it's interesting.